Wonderful turnout for our open house this morning. We are getting goodies situated. Now, today is our May open house. Can you believe it's May already? May Day. Yes, sure, 2 days ago. All right, call this meeting to order. My name is Kate. I am our current president. And so it's the May open house. We had last month's open house and the previous month's open house. We got started even later at the March and April open houses. We're getting much better. There's a spread of goodies, the orange juice. Thank you, Marty and Dave Licata, for arranging the refreshments. There are baked goodies. The coffee's not quite ready, but you could probably get some weaker already. The hot water. And thanks everybody for signing in. We have a fun meeting planned today. I just want to put out to the floor if we have any. Well, maybe we'll do the inspiration and then the pledge, and then we'll do announcements. So our inspiration, who is our inspiration today? Dave Licata. Dave, your goodies look from Zoom land. Can you smell the goodies like smell-o-vision, like Willy Wonka? You wish you were here in person today. Okay, Dave Licata, join us for the inspiration. Dave Licata.
Good morning, everyone. Yesterday, myself and the pros from Dover took to Gothic Hill Golf Course, and I was inspired by the incredible bursting of spring yesterday. All the beautiful flowers, the sun was right. It was really a grand day, and then I found out the theme was summertime. And I'm all set for spring, but summertime. Summertime and the living is easy. Fish are jumping and the cotton is high. Your daddy's rich, your mama's good looking. Hush, little baby, don't you cry. Thank you. Yeah.
Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, David. We had an excellent district conference on Saturday, so I want to share that with our guests. I see we have 2 guests in person in the house, and do we have any on Zoom? Do we have? Thank you very much. Okay, we have 2 guests in the house then. I would love to point out, Mary invited Rhonda and Jim. Joe. Okay, Joe. Now I've called him Jim probably 3 times. Don't anybody make this mistake. Oh my goodness. Any other guests we have online? I don't want to ignore anybody. Okay. I'm so eager that they could come to us today. They're members of the Y here, and I worked with Rhonda, kind of. We were in different schools, but in the Barker School District many moons ago. So it's so good to see your smiling face this lovely morning, coming out retired and still coming out bright and early. And so thank you both very much for coming. And I'm sorry I flubbed your name. What's your name really? It's Joe. Oh my goodness. Okay. At other announcements I wanted to share, we had a beautiful district conference. Oh, the coffee light is on. The coffee is ready. We had the conference in Rochester, first time in person since COVID. Woot, woot. We had a wonderful showing, and Gerald Stevens, Dr. Stevens, and Steve Smith did beautifully in representing our club, our area, and Division A. It was amazing. We also had some other winners, and I wanted to point out 2 winners of some awards that couldn't attend. We had Triple Crown winners from this club. We had Larry McKenzie and Jill Roaring. Woo-hoo, that means they won 3 levels. This year, they got 3 levels, not one, they earned. They earned those 3 educational levels in this past year, which is very exciting. I have 2 more Triple Crown pins in my hand because there were a couple who could not attend, but I have them for them, so I will give them to them. One in Zoom land, Margot. I'll stop by and give you a triple crown. Bravo, Margot online, Margot Bittner. And also in the house, Dave Licata, before you sit down. Oh, he just sat down. Triple Crown, we plugged away at our pathways this year. You and Mike, as your coach, kept you going. He's not smiling yet, but I know he'll smile soon. Wow, stunned. Triple crown. Triple crown means you earn 3 levels in 1 calendar year. So great job. I think someone correct me if I'm wrong. That's what it is. Thank you, all you division leaders of the past. Okay, any other announcements? I'm sure there's a lot going on. I'll save some for the end also. We have ribbons. Dr. Stevens, step right up. Immediate past president would like to present to us something we've earned.
Thank you, Kate. We have this distinguished ribbon, which will go in our nice collection of President's Distinguished Club. That's the highest educational level we can get. So good job, AM Lockport, to present to the current president.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Stevens. So we'll clip this up and add this to our collection. I shouldn't turn so much. Oh, right. We'll add this to our collection. President's Distinguished. We're not there yet, folks. We're not there. We need one more new member. One more new member. One level. Oh, did David join? Did he file the paperwork? Did you get everything? Well, we'll figure that out, but hooray, bravo. So I know someone's close to a level 2. We've got a lot cooking. So someone will have a level 2 and count. Well, look who we have in person today. Eric Schneider's in the house. Excellent, Eric. Now, I'm happy to pass over the microphone since we don't have any other announcements right now to Steve Smith, our Toastmaster of the day. Steve Smith.
Thank you. As she said, we just had a conference. Jill and I just had a big event with the eclipse. So I'm thinking, what am I going to talk about today? And it hit me, what's next? We're heading headlong into summer and all the fun that that brings. But before we launch into that, let's get our word of the day so that we can all use it. Nancy Ferry will give us our word of the day and our other duties.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. Our word for the day is cultivate. I will be cultivating my talents, perhaps that's a little stretch, in cultivating some garden plants that will be on my deck. And that will be, so I will be cultivating my own talents to cultivate my plants. Means to prepare for our crops or gardening, or to try to acquire or develop a quality and sentiment or skill. The word is cultivate, and I'm going to leave it on the lectern so that you will see it if you come up here and use it. And Len, would you post it on Zoom World for our Zoom people to remember to use the word of the day? I will also be listening for filler words, ers, ahs, ums, and so. And I will be listening for grammar, great use of the language, of the English language, and some ones that could be better and more improved. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you. I have a list of everybody that's here today. In person, we have Len Thornton, Carol Halstead, Mary Kate Banks, Beth Banks, Jackie Kenny, Marty Johnson, Larry McKenzie, David Shannon, Gerald Stevens, David Licata, me, Jill Roaring, Nancy Ferry, Eric Schneider. On Zoom, we have David Jones, Mark Campus, Margot Bittner, Marshall Song, and Mike Licata. And our guests, of course, Joe and Brenda. Rhonda, I'm messing up their names. Joe, what'd you start? Joe and Rhonda, I'm sorry. And interesting word of the day, and I'm glad I got her up here first to do it, because that's the first thing I was going to talk about. One of the big chores that Jill and I have in the summertime is gardening. So we do a lot of cultivation. Yesterday we were out digging up some of our raised beds, getting them weeded and ready to plant those for the crops they have to go in, should have been in, but the rain wouldn't let us. I plant a wide variety of vegetables out there. Her bit is the flowers. She has taken over the yard, and I'm not saying that in a bad way at all, and planted. How many hundreds of hostas do you have planted on there? Do you know? Close to 600. I wasn't even going to venture a guess. I knew it was in the hundreds, which is great because they attract a lot of wildlife, birds, flowers. I was just watching a rabbit run around out there this morning, probably doing more damage than good to all their pretty flowers. But my bit is the vegetable garden. And I want to talk about that too. Let's move along with some of our introductions here. Our quote master today is Beth Banks. Will you share a quote with us?
I agree. This is the season for cultivating. You can see all the tractors out and most of them are not getting stuck, although there are some low spots that I worry about the farmers, but it's a fun time. My quote for today is, "And so with the sunshine and the great bursts of leaves growing on the trees, just as things grow in fast movies, I had that familiar conviction that life was beginning over again with the summer. There is an almost religious rebirth that comes with the end of winter." And that is from The Great Gatsby. Thank you.
Thank you. Our jester today is Gerald Stevens. Can you share something funny with us?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. I'll try to cultivate some jokes here. I apologize in advance. What did the beach say to the tide when it came in? "Long time no see." I warned you. Why are fish at the bottom of the sea? Because they dropped out of school. What does the dolphin say when he's confused? "Can you be more Pacific?" And the last, possibly the worst, specifically for Eric. What is the blue whale's favorite James Bond film? License to Krill. I warned you in advance.
Okay. Our timer today is Marty Johnston. If you could come up and tell us about your duties.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the day. Welcome guests. As timer this morning, I have a very important role to keep us on time so we start and end on time. And I'm going to be sitting over here for those present and those on Zoom. For the 3 portions of the meeting, I'll be timing, and I'll be using colored cards. Table topics is our impromptu speaking portion or off the cuff speaking portion, and it's 1.5 to 2 minutes. And at 1.5 minutes, I'll raise the green card. At 2 minutes, the yellow card, or 1:45, the yellow card, and at 2 minutes, the red. So 1:30, 1:45, and 2. And then the second portion of our meeting, we have prepared speeches. And the prepared speeches are usually 5 to 7 minutes unless I'm notified otherwise. And again, I'll be using the colored cards. And for those on Zoom, you can see you can pin the timer or you can see the colors on your screen. And the time for the speeches would be 5 minutes for the green, 6 minutes yellow, and 7 minutes for the red. And I should mention that there's a 30-second buffer either side to qualify for the speech. And table topics, there's a 15-second. And then probably the most important portion of our meeting is what's called the evaluation, where someone evaluates the speaker and points out some good points and some constructive critique for them, that's 2 to 3 minutes. And again, the green card at 2 minutes, the yellow card at 2:30, and the red at 3 minutes, and there's a 30-second buffer. So I'll be cultivating all the names of the participants, and I'll be reporting back at the end with a clean hand to shake your hand again. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our quizmaster today is Mary. Could you come up here and tell us what your duties are?
Did I put this down? I'll be listening for everybody's listening skills and I'll report back at the end of the meeting. Oh, I was waiting to shake it.
Drop my pen, sorry. Praying for help. And as long as you're talking, I would like to introduce our general evaluator who came in late. 8-minute buffer. Eric Schneider, would you tell us what your duties are today?
Professor? I'm gonna do a quick joke if I may. Oh, quiet, Dave. What's made of leather and sounds like a sneeze? A shoe. Yeah, that. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests. As your general evaluator today, I'll be evaluating our Toastmaster Steve, making sure he keeps up on top of things. And I will be evaluating our evaluators today. So it's good to be back, and back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you. Did I just shoot myself in the foot here? Now I'm giving him free rein to tee off on me. Have fun. Now, before we launch into table topics, I want to talk a bit about gardening. As I said, I grow vegetables, lots of vegetables. I put in half a dozen, 8 or 10 varieties of sweet peppers, a lot of varieties of tomatoes. My specialty is hot peppers. I love growing hot peppers. Now, everything from the poblano, which is actually a bell type pepper, relatively mild, and the Hungarian, which is a banana type, that's a relatively mild hot pepper. Then we start moving up the scale a little bit. Jalapenos, they're not the cherry peppers, and the Portuguese, they're a little hotter than that. There's these cute little peppers, I'll be good, called Thai dragons. They're little and they're fierce. Now we start getting ridiculous. We get up into our ghost peppers, and there's actually a couple varieties of them, the regular and the chocolate ghost peppers. Now we start moving up into the insane varieties, habaneros, the Carolina Reapers, and the man that developed the Carolina Reaper has just made one even hotter. He only calls it Pepper X. I don't know if I can get plants for that, but I'm going to try. He claims they're twice as hot as the Carolina Reaper. Now, Carolina Reaper is rated about 1 million Scoville units. That's the scale they use to rate hot peppers. The X is rated at over 2 million. This is bordering on insanity. So I like to tell people I raise peppers all the way, hot peppers all the way from mild to what in the world is wrong with you? Those are peppers they use in those hot pepper contests that I do not advise chonking into. I made the mistake of throwing a whole ghost pepper in an omelet once. Boy, did I pay for that. I got through about 2/3 of it and I said, what did I do? So let's move on to our table topics. Our table topic master today is David Jones. Are you out there, David?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. And good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. This year, I'm probably not going to be cultivating a garden. I still have a freezer full of bags and bags and bags of my own jalapeno peppers and cut up tomatoes and herbs and all sorts of good things. So this year, I just have my key lime tree that I bring in during the winter, and it's got a lot of blooms on it, so I should have lots of key limes, even though I'm here in North Carolina. Table topics, 1.5 to 2 minutes, and you need to use the word of the day, which is cultivate. Obviously, I'm wearing my Mark Campos hat, and I'm therefore going to call on Mark. First question, baseball, it's that time of year again that we all enjoy during the summer. My question is, how did you get into baseball? What are your beginning memories of baseball? Did you play baseball? Just tell us your baseball childhood memories during the summer.
Well, thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, and our guests. Thanks for a question that's right in the old wheelhouse. It really comes back to my uncles growing up in the city that cultivated my interest in baseball. New York City, above all else, is a baseball town. Other sports are popular, but not like baseball. And family were always very big fans. There were Yankee fans in the family, but predominantly they were National League fans. They were Dodgers and Giants fans. Of course, those two teams abandoned us back in the late 50s, and they in turn adopted the Mets when the Mets were born in 1962. I was born in 68, so as a young child, and the Mets were good back then, Dave. You might not believe this, but in the early 70s, they were the dominant team in New York City. The Yankees were completely irrelevant at that point. They were taking me out to Shea Stadium, which at the time was still relatively new. It was a beautiful ballpark. And I have vivid memories to this day of going to the game. And again, I'm a kid growing up in Queens. My whole yard was concrete. So there wasn't a whole lot of grass in my life back then. But going to Shea Stadium, walking out of the tunnel into the upper deck and just being awestruck by the beautiful green grass of the baseball field and the pristine infield that was groomed so perfectly. And I was hooked at that point in time. And as you know, I have stayed with my Mets through thick and thin. I never really played organized baseball, played a ton of it in schoolyards and things like that, all the variations of stickball, wiffle ball, softball, you name it. We played it, but didn't play a lot of organized baseball. And that's my story, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mark. I appreciate it. And for our guests, the great part of AM Lockport is we're hybrid. Therefore, I can come to you from North Carolina. And our next participant comes to us from China. It's Marshall Song. And Marshall is a different time zone, obviously. That's why he's at the gym. We always see those purple lights above his head when he's working out at this time. But Marshall, tell us or educate us about summers in China. Did you do sports, family vacations, go to the beach? What would you do during the summer in China? Marshall Song.
Oh, in China, I'm a special education teacher. I have summer holiday for about 52 days. But before COVID-19, we can go to travel. I like the road trip. I drove my car to all over the China, and many people like to go to another country. But after COVID-19, the teacher and all the officials who work for government, we must submit our passport. So I haven't get my passport for 4 years, and the China have traveled most of provinces, so I don't have place to go. I plan to remember vocabularies in my home because my father not don't support me to go to USA for my PhD. I told him the well-educated American people, they handle 25 to 35 thousands of vocabularies. If I can remember this and good at English grammar, maybe I can go to Harvard University. Why I said Harvard? Because my father only know one university of the US. If I say Columbia, me don't know. He said the US very dangerous. They take guns, shoot on the street every day. That's what the Chinese news said. I said, no, not in Harvard. So for this holiday, I will pay attention on remember vocabulary. No matter what university, what university, after 2 years, I will meet you in the US. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Marshall. Appreciate it. And finally, sitting way, way, way in the back, David Shannon. Would like to participate? Let's see him way back yonder.
Thank you.
David, could you give us a quick good morning? How do I do a good morning?
Good morning. Good
Okay,
morning.
perfect. Thank you. David, do you want to tell us about your summer vacations, family traditions, anything that was summer related when you were growing up or as a family? Don't forget to use the word cultivate.
Sure. My family are teachers. Everybody is a teacher. My mother was a teacher. My father was a teacher. Two of my 3 kids are teachers. I grew up all year long, but I grew up in the Bronx Zoo and Museum of Natural History. Museum of Natural History is the one from the movies with the dinosaurs and Robin Williams. And my father had to teach us everything. We not only went to the zoo and knew all the animals, we knew every blade of grass. We knew what the Bengal tiger was going to eat for dinner. And then we went to the museum. He would tell us about, oh, let's not look at the big dinosaurs. Let's look at the little ones over there that don't get enough attention. I said, okay, Dad, when are we going to go outside and get the big soft pretzels and the hot chestnuts? Okay, but that's not in the summertime. So he cultivated my knowledge of everything. I am a teacher. I've never shut up as long as I've been alive. My father was teaching people well into his 70s, whether or not they wanted to learn or not. He still was teaching them. And I don't think it's such a bad thing because I enjoy it. And if you enjoy something as a teacher, their students know it. They know if you're enthusiastic about the subject. They know that you love it. And now my love is sign language. And I'm teaching sign language all over the place. I'm singing a song by Joni Mitchell in sign language. And in the summer, I'm thinking about starting a program called Signing a Book for the little kids. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Toastmaster David. And can we get a word master report or timer since I saw him jump up?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. All 3 participants qualified. Mark Campos at 2:01. Marshall Song, all the way from China at 2:11. And David Shannon at 2:04. Mark, Marshall, or David? Thank you. Stephen.
And a word report on our word of the day.
The word of the day, cultivate. Mark, I heard you say it. David, I heard you say it. And Marshall, it sure didn't fit into what you were talking about. And I'm not sure I heard it. I'll give you an opportunity to say it though. Cultivate.
Yeah, the summer holiday is a good time to cultivate my English vocabulary.
Awesome. I would say that all 3 of our candidates qualified as far as using the word of the day today.
Thank you, and back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you. This is easy. I'm just standing up here shaking hands. Well, you can vote for Mark Marshall or Dave Shannon. And Dave brought up an interesting point. I consider myself a teacher of astronomy. I'm not a certified teacher. I don't claim to be. But that was one of the other items I wish to talk about this morning. Next Saturday, not this week, next Saturday, we start a whole new summer of Star Search. Now, I don't think a lot of people were aware of it, but the night of the conference, Friday night, we get into town. Instead of being down having some fun, I had to be on a Zoom meeting with my astronomy group because I'm on the board there. These people could use Toastmasters. They don't know how to say anything succinctly. Why say something in 2 words when you can say it in 100? So about 9 o'clock, I said, and this was started at 7:30, and I've always been a firm believer, and our HOSTA president says the same thing. A board meeting should take an hour. Hour and a half into it at 9 o'clock, I said, I've had enough. I got to go. The guy that was talking about spending some money, he thought I was saying no to that. No, I'm not, Dan. No, I'm just saying I got to go because she brought me a nice burger to eat. He said, I want to eat. So this is what I do. And I spend a lot of time trying to do it the right way. It's going to be fun this year. One of the big showpieces we have are planets. Not going to have any this year. They're all going to be coming up just before dawn. I don't think anyone's going to stay down there. Oh, I might. Till just before dawn to look at Saturn and Jupiter and Venus and Mercury and Uranus and Neptune. They're all coming up just before dawn. But there's plenty of other fun stuff. It just makes me work a little harder to find it. We have beautiful star clusters, what we call asterism. I said, that makes you sound smart. An asterism is just a fancy word that means the stars look like something. Like the Big Dipper is actually an asterism. It's part of a larger constellation called the Great Bear, Ursa Major. So that is an asterism. We have another cute little asterism. It looks exactly like a coat hanger. So guess what it's called? The coat hanger. Now it's actually an open star cluster. It's got the wonderful name of NGC 457. We like to call it the ET cluster because in the middle of this cluster is another asterism. And all I got to do is tell you, look at those 2 bright stars. Those are his eyes. And then I know you've seen it. It looks like a stick figure standing there. So we call him ET. I made the mistake one night of saying that to kid, do you see ET in there? Kid, he had no idea who ET was. He was looking for the letters ET. His dad knew what I was talking about. But that's a fun cluster. Adults and children like that. And I love showing it off. And that's my approach to education. I like to share the enthusiasm. And I've given talks to my astronomy group. We are very enthusiastic. We're passionate about what we do. Share that with the people out there. Don't sit there and quote a lot of dry facts. I don't like to watch people nodding off. These are beautiful objects and we enjoy them. Share that passion. So I have a lot of fun doing this, and I have a lot of fun when I get a group of people and I get them going on. And I don't have to ask when I got something in there that's really showing. I say, "Oh, you saw it." So let's move into our speaking program. Our first speaker of the day is Carol Ann Halstead, who is evaluated by Mike Licata, who is online, I believe.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, and our guests this morning. Carol Ann is working out of Pathways. She is doing the speech Connect with Your Audience. Mr. Timer, the time is 5 to 7 minutes, and the purpose of the project is for the member to practice the skills needed to connect with an unfamiliar audience. And Mr. Toastmaster, you do have her title, correct?
I do.
All right. Carol Ann.
Thank you. Carol Ann Halstead, Golden Years at Grand Reserve. Carol?
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and our welcome guests. If you are 55 plus and looking for a lifestyle where your yard work and snow removal are taken care of, let me introduce you to the Del Webb Active Adult Communities. There are over 50 across the United States. I am familiar with the one in Grand Blanc, Michigan, called the Grand Reserve, because some very good friends of ours moved out there to be close to their sons. And before they moved, this was an area that was new, so they have a new build. They were able to pick a floor plan and other features of the house before they moved there. And I really like the house that they chose because it's very bright. It's an open floor plan. The kitchen sink has a window over it, which faces east. The combination living room, dining room face south. So on sunny days, it's bright, and the front door faces west. There are several, and also in their home, they have the primary bedroom accommodates a king size bed, and there's a large ensuite, plus another bedroom with a bath and an upstairs room for whatever you'd like to use it for. There are many amenities there. They have a large clubhouse, and they have a lending library right there. They have an outdoor pool. And of course, in Michigan, that's only for the summer, but they have a large heated indoor pool. And here they have certain hours for the children to use, because many of the residents, of course, have grandchildren visiting. And these hours are also good for people who choose not to swim with the children. They do have a plethora of activities, no matter what your interests are. And the opportunities to mingle in May alone include a bike ride, bingo, bowling, card games, a Cinco de Mayo celebration, an Elvis tribute concert, a casino bus tour, ladies' breakfast and ladies' luncheon, line dancing, and a group called Social Singles, where just so many opportunities to cultivate friendships. Now, there are many churches in Grand Blanc, which represent several denominations. There's proximity to stores and restaurants. And the hospital is only 4 miles up the road, and it is a large medical center there. There is easy access to I-75. If you're going south, you come into Detroit and suburbs. North, you go to places like Frankenmuth. Unfortunately, our friend, the couple, the husband did pass away a couple years ago, but but fortunately for my friend, because she lives in this type of a community, she has so many social activities, and she does participate. And she especially likes the book club, and they have a trivia night. Now, the communities are named after, actually, there is a person, Del Webb, there was, he's passed away. But for years, he was the co-owner of the Yankees. And also he did some development in Vegas, his under the mob boss, Bugsy Siegel, who mentioned Siegel, who mentioned that mentioned to Dell that he had killed several people. So that frightened him, but he says, don't worry, we only kill our own. And actually at age 41, Bugsy was gunned down. So I would like to encourage you, if you have family maybe living near one of these, that you might want to relocate, or if you know, or if you know anybody 55 plus, mention the wonderful senior living in one of these Del Webb communities.
Thank you. Don't be in a hurry. Our second speaker today is Kate Orr, who is being evaluated by Larry McKenzie.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Before I talk a little bit about what Kate's going to do, I wanted to once again congratulate Dr. Stevens and Steve for their participation in the District 65 speech contest and representing AM Lockport. Great job. There were 8 participants throughout the district, and we had 2 of them from our 8 in each category. And thank you for your participation and representing our club. Today, I have the opportunity of evaluating our current president, Kate Orr. Now, if you're not familiar with pathways, there are 11 different paths. Each path has 5 sections in it. In order to progress and earn your Triple Crown, like some of the members of our club, you have to complete 3 of those paths, or 3 of those sections of the path. Today, Kate will be finishing her path, complete path. This is her level 5 in persuasive influence. Her purpose today is to reflect on her path, what she has learned from her path, and give us an evaluation of how she learned different things throughout that. Her speech today, is it the 10? Her speech today is 10 to 12 minutes, Mr. Timer, 10 to 12 minutes. The title of her speech is, get ready for it, Worth Getting Up For. Kate Orr.
Thank you so much, Larry. And Mr. Toastmaster and our fellow members on Zoom, here in the room, and our most honored guests. Reflecting on a whole path. I'm jumping around a bit. I'm jumping to the end. I haven't finished my high performance leadership project quite yet. This is the wrap up, reflect on the entire path speech. Like many of you, I'm also working on a second path. You keep going and then you get stuck kind of at those level 5s for the guests in the house and our newest members, level 1, level 2, level 3. Our projects and our pathways programming through Toastmasters International increasingly challenges us to become better leaders, become better speakers, better listeners, better people, better friends, better community members. I'm your current president, and for anyone who missed it or our guests last week, we held our elections for next year. I am so excited to pass the mantle back to Eric Schneider, who was president in the past, and he will be our incoming president and our new officer team. I'm very excited about that. The week before that, what else did we do that was a significant milestone? We inducted our newest members. Mary and Marshall and Dave Channon were inducted. It was very exciting. There was a lot going on this past month and the month before and the month before. So many contests, so many competitions. Thank you again everyone who participated, who drove many miles to Amherst, to Rochester, supporting one another, supporting me, supporting our team of Toastmasters in the area. I was area director this year too, and I'm reflecting on that, the path, being president. It was a lot. It was a big year. And I owe so much of what we've accomplished together to all of you. Those of you who don't know, I was very sick last summer. We're coming up on 1 year anniversary when I had an amazing trip to North Carolina. It was the most expensive vacation ever when I brought back a tick bite. And so I was hospitalized for quite a long time and the year went sideways. And you all kept me going. You kept me going. Who says, sure, I'll be president. Sure, I'll be area director right after, a hospital stay. Who does that? Crazy people who don't know how to say no. I'm learning how to do that from all of you. And I am grateful to be a part of this club. Looking forward, we have some exciting things going on too. I mean, the conference, first time in person in so long, that was super exciting. That's our district. The next level is the international conference. That's in August. I know a couple of people in this room and on Zoom are going to Anaheim. It's our 100th anniversary of Toastmasters International, born in Anaheim, California. So it's a reunion back to Disneyland, I guess. That's some of the side activities. It's super exciting, though, that we have a chance to send on our members to those kinds of competitions. And our gentleman here faced stiff competition over the weekend. And the winner, I hope you can see the video of both of those, the evaluation contest that Steve was a valiant contestant in, and then the international contest. Will the contestant move ahead in that? And it's all of the upstate New York, basically, clubs that are part of our district for our members, newest members and our guests. Well, what's coming up? Oh, I got some tickets. I've got them in my bag. Anybody know what those are for? My Fair Lady Shaw Festival on May 18th. It's coming up. And we are very excited to be doing that. I don't know if someone wants to go online right now and see if there are any other tickets available. It's the May 18th, 2 p.m. show. You don't get the group deal because you didn't jump in on our group deal, but you can still buy your own individual tickets. I have 2 friends who did that. So they'll join us over there. We're still carpooling together. We're going to have lunch at Niagara on the Lake. Tell me from the group, who's going to the group? I know we've got a few in the room that are going. Who hasn't been back to Canada yet since the before times? I'm excited to be getting back. I used to go every year. That's coming up right around the corner. Then reminders, save the dates. I'm always up here reminding you. This is kind of reflecting and also looking to the future, right? So our June open house, 1 month from today, it's always the first Thursday. It's June 6th. Bring guests, invite guests. Then we take the summer open houses off. We're not doing a July or August open house, but we'll continue our meetings every Thursday, except Thanksgiving. We know the mottos. Worth getting up for. That's my title today, but that's the motto of our club. It is worth getting up for. And folks, you that do know me, I am not a morning person. I was not a morning person, but Thursdays I am. On Thursdays, I'm a happy morning person and very happy to be here. After the June 6th open house, at the end of June, we have the installation of our new officers. And for those of you who missed it last week, Eric Schneider is our incoming president. And then next in the ranking is our vice president of education, Mike Florio. Next is our vice president of membership, Marty Johnston, right there. Coming back, retiring as a division director and gracing us as an officer of AM Lockport once again. We're very grateful to have him spearheading our open houses and a lot going on with that. Our Vice President of Public Relations will be Les Robinson. Our continuing on from there, our Treasurer, Beth Banks. She just keeps saying yes. Our Secretary, Carol Halstead. Our Sergeant at Arms, Mary Cavanero. So again, congratulations to all of our officers. We will install you the last meeting in June because you begin officially July is your beginning. So yeah, we'll induct for that. I don't know what that means. Fantastic. Thank you, Dave. Dave Channon looked it up. There's tickets available. A lot pricier, but so worth it. We're going to have a wonderful time. And then afterwards, barbecue at Dave's friend's house, I think, maybe. Working on it. We shall see. We'll keep you posted on that. And then I'm excited to announce also Eric, as your incoming president, is already right on top of things and he's organizing, I think it's the 5th annual officer luncheon. Outgoing officers and incoming officers and everyone else is welcome. It's at the Beer Project. That's good. He picked a holiday weekend. He did a little poll and Saturday, July 6th. So 12:30 or something like that. 12 to 1:30. So we don't make a reservation. They set it up for us. It's always been great. We've had it there the last few years. Thank you, Eric, for coordinating that. Again, Saturday, July 6th, 12 o'clock, the officer luncheon. And by then I'll hand over the gavel to Eric. So I will have no more to share on that. Now, as far as reflecting on our past. This is a longer speech than our typical 5 to 7 minute speeches. We also have 2 to 3 minute speeches, 4 to 6 minutes, 20-minute speeches. There's a lot of different projects and levels for our newest members and our guests. I have something I want to reflect on that I, as Vice President of Education, wanted to do better, and that is pathways for our members. This coming Tuesday, May 7th, at 7 p.m. is a District 65 Pathways Online session. And I want to do that together. Nancy might be available. We were trying to work out so that any of our newest members or the members who are getting onto Pathways want to see what that's about and experience that. I would like to get together. We all have our laptops or we do it at the library if everyone doesn't, but we'll sort that out so we can be together. We probably won't do it here. They might have something going on in the room. So we might go to the library or Panera's, but that's this coming Tuesday. So if anyone wants to brush up on the Pathways projects, wants to learn more about it, it hasn't changed a whole lot recently, but if you're curious, it's a 1-hour session that District 65 is leading. So we'll follow along. And then together, if we have anything we want to hash out, we can do that together. So I know for sure Mary and I are doing it and anyone else who is interested as well. So the advice I would give new Toastmasters and guests is to consider, is this something for you? Is it for the fun? Is it for the socializing? Dave has called me for years the cruise director because I'm planning things like Shawfest trip, like we're doing this. Eric has really picked up that mantle. Let's do an officer luncheon. Let's do summer picnics. Let's do. So that's great that we do outside of the meetings. I want to continue to cultivate also why we're here, to speak better, to present better, to connect better, to engage with our community. I'm very excited about Phil's open house series and projects and what the new officers can bring. I want new members to consider what are you joining for and how can we help you and how can we mentor you and keep those lines of communication open. I'd say embrace Pathways. That would be advice for new members and a lot of current members. I know it's something different than the paper manuals. There's a lot of awesome things happening though. And how I'm thinking of some obstacles that I've faced would be technology. You know what? Mark doesn't know this, but Mark, maybe on Zoom, I'm not sure. I'm guessing that Zoom folks didn't hear, but a little bit in the middle of your speak, your sound went out. It came right back. It wasn't long at all. You know, it is what it is. Exactly. Thanks, Mark. He shrugs. It is what it is. And I was so proud of the members in this room because some of them were grumbling, but it's not as much as it used to be. And it's quieter and it's like, oh, it'll come back. We're trusting our Zoom, our techies to take care of us. It's not, oh, it's not working again. Here we go. Because that's what we used to say a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It was just a little, oh, it is what it is. And we keep on going. And so I'm so proud of us as a club that we've faced the obstacles of new space, new place, new people, new tech, and we still rise. We rise with these challenges. We continue to learn from one another. We're invigorated by new members. We're invigorated every time a guest visits and drops in. And guests, you're welcome to come anytime as a guest. We would love to have you. We often do post toasties. That's breakfast afterwards. Are we doing olive leaf today? It's our mainstay. Many of you have already had goodies, but if you'd like to go to breakfast, please join the club. We come when we can. We advance within Toastmasters what we put into Toastmasters. A saying that somebody knows, and Margot and Dave probably know who said this first. You said, and you can correct me because I will flub it. How long do you stay in Toastmasters? As long as you, if Yeah, that's what I thought. You'll never stop wanting to be a Toastmaster. There, it is. Thank you, Jackie. Can you state that again? So maybe I will be able to state it to the microphone. If you're going to get everything you can out of Toastmasters, you'll never leave Toastmasters. Perfect is just a word in the dictionary, folks. None of us are perfect. We can't be perfect. We can try. Practice makes perfect. Nah, practice makes practice. That's okay. More practice. Practice makes. Nah. Practice makes better. And I'm all about better. Thank you so much, fellow Toastmasters. Maybe I'll get this out of your way too.
Thank you. Now, our final speaker today is Jill Roaring. And she's being evaluated by Jackie Kenny. Can you tell us something of what she's up to today?
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Jill is speaking from the persuasive influence path. And her intent is to be aware of both intentional and unintentional body language. So I'm going to be watching for her obvious awareness and the way that she uses her body and her gestures today. Do you want me to introduce? The time is 5 to 7 minutes. And we now have Jill, who is going to tell us, you mean I have to move? Jill Roaring.
Thank you, Jackie. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. Have you ever had one of those days where the day just starts bad? And it seems like nothing else happens to make it better. That was yesterday for me. Went to quilting in the morning. As many of you know, I spend Wednesday mornings at my church doing what we call quilting for missions. We make quilts for various objects, various people all over that need quilts. And I got it all laid out on the table, all the squares, they were looking so pretty. And then I started putting them together. And it just wasn't working. But wait a second, I'm supposed to be moving around a lot here. Right? Okay. I laid the squares out. Now theoretically, you pick them up in order and you sew them in order. And then you put the next line together and you do that. And you keep the pretty pattern going. It wasn't happening. I kept messing up. It kept happening that just wasn't laying out right. And the worst part is the ones you have sitting on the table are separated a little bit. And they haven't got the seam allowances used up. So they're full 6-inch squares, which once you put the seam allowances in, you're looking at 5.5-inch squares sewed together. So I'm getting this row of 5.5-inch squares, which is about 2 squares shorter than what's laying on the table. And I'm trying to figure out where my mistake is. And I figured it out after, and I was on the second row. Then it happened to get on the third row. The fourth row, I accidentally sewed 2 squares together. I had 2 blue squares where I only needed 1 blue square. You know, they just didn't separate when I put them down. It just kept going on like that. Meanwhile, Kim, one of the other quilters, was having her rough times too. She's laying out a big quilt on the table and she can't figure out why it's not working. Well, it's not working because you get lengthwise instead of crosswise. It's 60 by 80 roughly. If you have two tables together, they're 60 inches wide. Well, she had it 80-inch wide going that way. So that wasn't working. Yeah. So it had been foggy in the morning, as anybody knows. Very foggy. And I'm at church, about a half mile up the road from my house. And the sun comes out about 10:30 or so. Wow, it's gonna be a nice day. It's like they said it would. And after all this stuff, and I decided to not try and finish this quilt top because it just wasn't coming together. I went home and I turned the corner onto Harbor Street and it was foggy. I was planning on mowing the lawn. I don't know about anybody else here, but mowing the lawn in the fog is not fun. It's cold. A mower can handle doing the wet grass. The 72-inch Skag Turf Tiger. It's an expensive machine even now, even though this one is 20 years old. But we had a hard time getting it started. Of course, it was the first time because we had so much water in our lawn. And it took about an hour and a half to get started. Yeah, that's what Steve says, yeah. From start to finish, pumping the tires up. And I got as much mowing done as I planned. I wasn't gonna do the whole thing because the back section, I knew there was more standing water out there. And I went and parked it. And everything is going wonderful. I haven't gotten stuck once. I haven't had any problems mowing. Except I go to turn the thing off and the key doesn't do anything. It won't turn off. So I did what any normal, intelligent person would do. I stalled it out. Good thing I learned how to do that over my years of mechanical stuff. I'm horrible with small gas engines. They don't like me. But we figure it's probably the ignition switch. And where we get our parts has an open house next Thursday. And they're having 10% off, so we're gonna wait until next Thursday to get the part. So if I go to finish mowing the rest of the lawn today, we'll still have problems. But hey, life goes on. And all this movement that I'm trying to do here and gestures and all that sort of thing. And we're so restricted by the camera nowadays. There's certain things that we can do, but I don't think we'll ever see Marty sliding across the floor. Probably not. Probably wouldn't have anyhow. No, he's gonna put a banana peel out here for me. And I guess out there in Zoom land, maybe sometime you're not gonna see what's going on in here because somebody does do something like that. But not today. I'm done for today. So thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Okay. Thank you. And she's not kidding about that mower. I took the key right out of it and the machine's still running. And I was on the tip of my tongue to say, well, stall it out. She flips the lever and does it. Good thinking. Okay. I didn't have to say a word. So now we have that to fix. I'm hoping it's just that switch that's messed up. It's only a few bolts. I can take that apart and check it out. But like she says, we're going to wait on that. Okay, can we get a timer's report on our three speakers?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. All three speakers qualified. Carol Ann Halsted, 627, Kate Orr, 1230, and Jill Roaring, 649. Back to you, Toastmaster Steve.
Thank you. So you can vote for Carol, Kate, or Jill for best speaker. And we'll continue on. We're not doing too bad time-wise. I wanted to finish up. I was talking about a couple of things. I was talking about the astronomy show. Some people ask me, well, how late do you stay down there? Because I'm not going to get down there. If there are people down there and they want to look at stuff, I'll stay there all night. If it's a good night, I'm allowed to be there a while. But as long as someone wants to see something, I will stay there and do it because I enjoy that. So don't worry about getting there late. Just get there. Now, if it's a cloudy night or a bad night, then all bets are off. We pack it in. There's no sense even doing this. And some people, I go down there just in case people show up, and they do. It was pouring down rain. Are you doing a star show tonight? No. Always satellites, always satellites. And I still checked. I have a website, heavensabove.com, and I can see if the space station is going to make a pass overhead, because that's about the most showy one we have. But there are thousands of satellites. There's always satellites going over. Yeah, I'm not going there. Right? Yes. Heavensabove.com. You enter in your location. And it's probably different now because I got on there years ago. You tell them where you are and it'll tell you when the ISS is going overhead. That's when I found out, when I signed on to this site, there are 39 Wilsons in the continental United States, because you scroll, you type in your name, the whole row comes up, you type in the name of your town, and then you scroll down that till you find the one that's in your state. And there are 39 Wilsons, which brings up a fun story. Years ago, I got a letter in the mail. It was addressed to Wilson, South Carolina. To Stephen Smith. Well, I look at it. It was thanking me for partaking in a basketball tournament. I mean, now I know you got the wrong guy. So I took him back. Right, except that this isn't me. That happens a lot. You get mail. We both look at it. We don't know who this is. Take it back to the post office. I've been getting those for decades. Yeah. I didn't think, I guess I qualify now, but I didn't then. So let's get to our evaluators. Our first evaluator evaluating Carol Ann is Mike Licata, who is online. Mike.
Good morning. Good morning. Excuse me. Good morning, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, our guests, and especially Carol Ann. Carolyn, this was a well-researched topic in your speech this morning. It's something that I don't have to think about in terms of retirement communities, but I know it's important because people are getting older. They're also living longer, so they need to take the opportunity to live near their grandchildren, live near their kids is a way to keep connected. And you did a good job this morning with connecting and providing opportunities for retirement people over 55 as a way to keep active, along with staying close to their children and their grandchildren, because it's important for senior citizens to keep connected in this world. I also think you did a great job in providing me things you wanted me to look for personally. You said that in a separate email. You did avoid the connecting words. Obviously, there were still a couple so's and ands in there, but you did a good job holding them really well. The things I want to work on is I have more conviction in a speech like this. I always say that every time we have an opportunity to speak at Toastmasters, part of the experience is trying to convince somebody to do it, or you're selling something. So I would encourage you to have more conviction in your future speeches. I would also avoid reading from your notes so directly. It is a distracting experience when you read straight from your notes, so avoid your notes and come with more conviction in your speeches going forward, because it does help you sell the idea better. And that's another element of Toastmasters that we learn here, is the fact that we are able to sell our ideas. And I think you've done a good job trying to sell this one. Good luck on your pathway going forward. Overall, I thought it was a great speech and a great presentation this morning. And with that, I will turn it back over to our Toastmaster.
Thank you. Our second evaluator evaluating Kate is Larry McKenzie, and here he comes now. Larry?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. I had the distinct pleasure this morning of evaluating Kate, our current president. Kate was reflecting on her path, and she did go into an explanation of what Pathways is and how that you can join next Tuesday and how to basically learn a little bit about it. Because if we've heard the word pathways and don't understand what that is, this is an opportunity for you, even those of us that are seasoned, to get to reflect and to learn a little bit more about our pathways. Now, Kate, wonderful use of your gestures. When you were talking about different things, you went here with your heart. You were very interactive with the people in the audience. You incorporated them into your speech. One of the things that you do is you have great use of your voice, and there's hills and valleys. So you'll start out and then you start speeding up a little bit, then you get a little bit faster. In the beginning of your speech, you started out very timid and apprehensive a little bit, it seems, because you were trying to probably figure where you were going to go, what direction with your speech. I felt that at the beginning. And then once you took off, it was like the plane going down the runway. And then you were right about here and you got up, then you hit a little turbulence here and there. And then you were up here, and then you came down a little bit like you were going to land, and then you brought us back up when you started talking about your reflection on the speech. One of the things that I did notice was that you are our human Google Calendar, because you gave us a list of everything that's happening for the next millennia. I mean, next few weeks. And one of the things that I may encourage is that maybe we should have a shared calendar for our members that we can on Google Calendar or whatever it might be. Now, one of the things that what I wanted to mention too is that normally we speak in about 130 to 150 words per minute. The human brain can actually comprehend 800 words a minute. Kate, you're right around when you started at that 130, then you got up to about 180. We still could listen and keep listening to you with that. One of the things that I would encourage all of us when we give our speeches is to listen to some of the things Kate did with her voice, because her voice kept us engaged. There was parts when you started to maybe lose part of your speech, and her voice inflection or interacting with the crowd brought us right back in. And that's the important part of a speech. When you're giving something to an audience, is you want them to be able to feel what you're expressing and to grab them and hold their attention. Kate, great job. Pathway number 5. You're on your way. DTM, yes? Thank you for your speech today.
Thank you. Our final evaluator today, evaluating Jill, will be Jackie Kenny. Jackie?
All right. Thank you, Jill. And thank you for coming dressed to command the room. I think that's very important when you're giving a speech. Not that you have to be fussy or anything, but look like you're professional, like you have an intention behind speaking. That was something I noticed at the conference Saturday, the way the people who were presenting dressed, and I was proud of all my AM toasties. Mom likes it when you know how to behave. I like that you grabbed the mic and came out and you managed to keep yourself in front of the camera. And that's not easy when you have this small space to work with. You were very expressive in many ways, but I would like to hear more vocal variety, more passion for your subject. So maybe you need to pick a subject that gives you more energy. Your eye contact was good through most of the speech, although in the beginning you were looking down at your notes. Okay, that was intentional, she says. I'm not sure why you would want to do that, but okay. You might need to work on your flow a little more as well. There were some awkward pauses when maybe they were intentional, but you appeared to lose your train of thought. All in all, very well done, good total package. And that's important to keep that in mind when you're speaking. So thank you, Jill, for cultivating your pathway with us this morning. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you. Now, if we can get a timer's report for the final time today, Marty.
Thank you, Steve. You might just have a little banana on your hand. I don't have any dirt today. I wasn't cultivating too much. But I did manage to cultivate the times in a nice manner. Mike Licata qualified at 2:32. Larry McKenzie qualified at 3:13. And Jackie Kenny qualified at 2:06. So Mike Licata, Larry McKenzie, Jackie Kenny. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, Steve.
Thank you. You can vote for your choice. They all qualified. I had a little bit different take on Jill's speech because I didn't know what she was going to talk about today. And I see her title. You mean I have to leave? I'm thinking, oh, what? I didn't say anything. I have to move. Yeah. And then, then I'm sitting there. Oh, yeah. Am I in trouble? I don't know. Yeah, I probably am now, but I have one more item I wanted to mention. Dave mentioned longevity of teachers. Yeah. There's a Freudian slip. Of teachers. Well, I can beat that out, what you were saying. The man's name is John Dobson. He designed the telescope base called the Dobsonian Mount. I have two of them. They're a real easy base to work with, and that's why he designed it. He wanted to bring astronomy to the people. He was doing star shows for the people when he was 92. Man lived about 97. And that's kind of my goal, if I can last anywhere near that long. I got a ways to go. I'm just going to turn 70 now in a month. So I have yeah, I know I'm young. So I'm going to try to make it that long. As long as people want to listen to me, I will talk. So, with that, I'll bring up our general evaluator to take over the festivities. Eric?
And make sure Larry gets his pen back. All righty. Good morning, everyone, again. And Jackie, can we turn the cup a little bit so I don't? She knows where I'm going with that. All in all, this was a well-oiled machine theme meeting this morning. Steve, thank you so much for getting us ready for summer, because summer is fast approaching us. And we have so many plans in store for this summer, and I'm looking forward to spending it all with my lovely Toastmaster family. So, Steve, thank you very much. Everything was smooth, and I like the word I'm using tranquil because this was tranquil, smooth. Yes, laughter in it. So I think this was a good use of that. You promoted star shirts. Every time I hear star shirts, I'm hearing Ed McMahon. Anyway. But all of our table topics contestants, our speakers, all in all, well done. I enjoyed every single minute of it, like I always do. To our evaluators, Mike, very well detailed evaluation for Carol Ann. Sandwich approach is always a key for an effective evaluation in providing critical feedback. Larry, well detailed evaluation for Kate. I like Google Calendar because I think that all of us are our own Google Calendar because we're literally on that all the time. So I like how you use that in your evaluation. And good airplane references. I like how you were like, you're like an air traffic controller telling Kate, you're going up, you're going down, sideways. I like that. That was really good. And I like the word timid. I like that word. Very, very timely of that. And instead of saying great speech, I've learned this from Karen Moronsky Chapman. Don't drop so many G's of great or good. Wonderful or fantastic is what I would like to see here in evaluation. But all in all, good job. And our club mom, Jackie, you really hit the nail on with Jill's speech and her with your evaluation. You always give us such good, effective use of your vocabulary in your evaluations. So very, very well done. Do you want me to call for reports, Mr. Toastmaster? All right. Mary, would you like to come up and do our quiz? All right. All right. Please help me welcome up our Quizmaster, Mary.
And you're written down as one of my summer plans. I'm gonna cultivate my garden with my dad this summer. And I have a wedding and Eric's my guest for my wedding this summer. Who was Beth's quote from? The Great Gatsby. How many teachers are in David C's family? Everyone. And what famous baseball team did Carol mention? Yankees.
Thank you, Mary. All right. Nancy, are you ready for your WAG report? Please help me welcome our WAG master, Nancy Ferry.
Wag, does that mean we have to have a tail? Just thinking about that. The wag. Not gonna happen. Very good. Cultivate 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15. 16. I just said it again. Oz Ums did just as well. Some of the eloquent and descriptive language that I heard. The Scoville heat units, which I've never heard of. So I had to look it up to see how to spell it. Pristine, groomed, referring to the lawn. Enthusiastic, theoretically, succinctly, showpieces, asterism. You taught me 2 words today. Share the enthusiasm and passion. Golden years, not so liking that one. Tranquil, amenities, dressed to command the room, plethora, opportunities to mingle, proximity, wrap up and reflect, Freudian slip, spearheading, Freudian slip. I won't tell you about the Halloween costume I once saw. That was a Freudian slip. And then some of those ungrammatical words that fall into the ungrammatical category, I mean, gonna, gotta, yeah, have to, getting, stuff, something. And if you're, oh, I know, that's my arrow going up here. The favorite one of the day is it's worth getting up for. To always have that in our vocabulary, every meeting that we have. Mr. General Evaluator.
Nancy, thank you very much. And it's true, like I said, I have received, when she's mentioned Golden Age, I have received not once but twice of mail from AARP when I was 19 years old. And it said age 65. I'm like, what do they think I am? Yeah. Would our guests like to come up and give their take on today's meeting? Please come on up. I forgot, what's your name again? Joe. Hi, Joe. Nice to meet you. Rhonda, nice to meet you. Please please come on up and give your take on today's meeting.
All right, and like this, that, I got that all out. You guys are just great. You've got a lot of energy. The passion that you have towards everybody and giving them the kudos that they deserve, but also giving them a little bit of information on how you can improve is really something that's important. We all want to be the best, but the presentations with the little bit of things that we're all so comfortable with, again, the likes, the ums, the but, we don't perceive that when we're talking. Other people have to bring that to us so that we continue to improve. Being out there in public speaking is something that's very hard. People clam up. They get a little bit nervous. This group here doesn't make you nervous. It brings out the best in you. Couple things on the speakers that I wrote down. There you go. I said, because I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable. Correct. The use of tone, the airplane. When you started out with, my day started out bad. It was low. But as things started going, you got a higher voice and tone, and that brought us all in. We all have days like that. We feel bad, but then there's a little thing that can bring us up. One good thing, walking away from stitching and sewing because it wasn't working, coming back a little bit later, it starts again. So I really enjoyed this today. I'd like to thank Mary. She brought us into this, and she did. I even took a day off of work today to be here. So thank you very much.
Well, first I need to say thank you, Mary, for the invitation. Kate, wonderful to see you. Margot, I know you're out there on Zoom. It's wonderful to see you also. I had the wonderful opportunity to teach with Kate at Barker. Margot was on our school board. I taught her children. I know Margot used to, there's an did it again. I taught for 30 years at Barker and always tried to avoid those as things of that nature. I remember Margot coming in and working with our students for Toastmasters. And a very good friend of ours has her son, Nick Britt, who was part of Toastmasters in a small way, I believe, went on and now he's selling seeds and deals with the public, but his speaking abilities through 4-H and all of that have really made him the person he is. And so I have to credit Margot, but I also have to credit all of you because you do bring things to the forefront that we aren't aware of. And I wish there was more like this, especially for the kids. I think they need it. So thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Before I turn back to Steve, real quick announcement. May 30th, put on your calendars, the DECA kids are coming to our meeting. And Larry, I know you're the Toastmaster, if you want to. I know you, yeah, I know. Yeah, yes. Steve and Kate, would you like to come up and now for the awards? Please help me welcome Kate and Steve.
Okay. I have a few winners here. Yeah. Our best table topic speaker today was Mark Campus. Our best evaluator today is Larry McKenzie. We got that one. That's you there. There we go. Okay, well, I got one here for you.
Thank you.
Our best speaker today is Kate Orr. There, we got one for you. There you go. Yeah, now you get to draw the winner.
All
I guess they're
right,
getting ready.
I'm going to close the meeting so the recording can stop, but we can take care of these details afterwards. Good, okay.